What's good, YouTube? It's your boy. In today's video, we got 10 WWE wrestlers who botched a move on purpose. Now, if y'all new to the channel, make sure y'all smash that like button for your boy. Before we get to the video, make sure y'all smash that like button because it do help me get into the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. We on the road to 100 subscribers. And yeah, let's get to the video, man. No more talking. Let's get it. Ooh, what is it? That's Ronda Rousey.
Worst of that exchange.
Although virtually every professional wrestler gets into the game for their own success, it's still very much a team sport in that cooperation is the key to victory. Every match considered to be the greatest of all time, such as The Undertaker vs Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25, or John Cena vs CM Punk from Money in the Bank 2011, featured elite level cooperation from both wrestlers throughout their instant classics. Regrettably, this isn't always how the story unfolds, with many wrestlers having intentionally botched a move, either to sell a specific story beat or to purposefully make their opponent's life a living hell. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who botched a move on purpose.
Let's get it.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. Mick Foley. Diving into the backstage rumor mill from the 90s will uncover endless stories depicting Shawn Michaels as being impossible to work with. These tensions grew exceptionally worse following Shawn's first World Championship victory at WrestleMania 12, as he refused to put certain wrestlers over, sandbag moves, and in one memorable incident, legitimately stomped on Vader's face when he forgot a spot during their SummerSlam 96 encounter. In short,
God dang, Shawn Michaels, you was a locker room cancer? You out here stomping on people's head when they mess up? And refusing to put wrestlers over. Now that's one thing I always respected about John Cena. Like he was willing to do anything for the company. So if that means putting a certain wrestler over or trying to put new talent over, he was willing to do that. So shout out to John Cena, man. You will be missed, John. Come back for one more match, man. That Gunther match don't count. You know what I'm saying? He can't end your career like this, John. Please come back for one more match. Undertaker was the same way, by the way, but yeah, so shout out to them, man. Shawn Michaels, man, you ought to be ashamed.
he wasn't well liked in the locker room, which is what drove Mick Foley to give the Heartbreak Kid a taste of his own medicine. Challenging Shawn for the WWF Championship at the aptly named Mind Games In Your House pay-per-view, Foley was wrestling under his Mankind guise, went into the match wanting to draw something ugly out of the champion. He sent Michaels into the corner for what appeared to be a traditional up and over sequence, but he deliberately didn't run in after him, leaving Shawn with no choice but to awkwardly stop in his tracks. From there, HBK stomped across the ring, audibly screamed "come on," and laid into Mankind with several punches to the face. It was a spot so effective to the match and to show Shawn's true ugly self. Number 9. Well, Shawn Michaels. It would be impossible for a list of this nature to mention Shawn Michaels and not discuss one of the many times he'd went out of his way to ruin the quality of a match. Coming 1 year before he took his own seat at the head of the table, Michaels was booked to challenge Diesel for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 11. For whatever reason though, and despite being legitimately good friends with Big Daddy Cool behind the scenes, Shawn spent the entire match making a mockery out of Diesel, seemingly attempting to make Vince McMahon realize that crowning the 7-footer as champion might be a big mistake. This is the 90s version of Shawn Michaels we're talking about. The first half of the match saw Michaels work at hyper speed as he attempted to blow the champion up before the match had a chance to peak. But his most heinous crime was his contribution to the finisher. Shawn was able to take a flat back bump from a jackknife powerbomb, but he willfully made the move look terrible. He rotated almost back to a standing position before falling to the mat in a heap, marking a seriously dull end to a seriously dull match. In fact, the main event of Bam Bam Bigelow vs NFL star Lawrence Taylor looked like Brett vs Stone Cold Steve Austin in comparison. Number 8. Alex Riley. If there's any wrestler who had no right to sandbag their opponent, let alone their opponent's finishing move, it's Alex Riley. And yet that's exactly what he did to Jack Swagger in the summer of 2011. Still fresh off his genuinely incredible babyface turn against The Miz, A-Rai was booked to lose to Swagger on the August 15, 2011 episode of Raw, with a gut-wrench powerbomb due to be the deciding blow. However, Riley went purposefully limp when Jack went to lift him off the mat, which he had tried 3 times before he could finally get the move to work. Now some 15 years removed from the incident, we're still awaiting answers as to why Alex Riley thought it would be a great idea to sandbag a former World Heavyweight Champion. One thing that isn't uncertain, however, is that his push died that night. He sustained a minor injury a few weeks later, and once he returned, Riley was relegated to jobber status, starting the new year with a 14-match losing streak. Number 7. Owen Hart. Now, as awesome as he was as a wrestler, Owen Hart was one of the most notorious pranksters in the industry, and getting on his bad side could end up costing you an easy night at the office. In a story told by, of all people, Al Snow during an episode of the Steve Austin Show, Owen was working the 1995 house show loop alongside Yokozuna against the Allied Powers, the team of Lex Luger and the British Bulldog, and he allegedly used this time to teach Luger a big lesson.
There's like that story, the best example of that was Owen Hart. You know, Owen was such a cut-up, and it was Owen and Yokozuna working with Davey and Lex Luger, and Lex had made some smart-ass remark to Owen about being a big star or something like that. So Owen taught him a lesson. So whenever Davey would get in the ring, Davey would hip toss him and Owen just go flying. David tagged right out. Owen caught hip toss for Lex, and he'd just go over like a tub of shit, you know. And it finally got to the point where Lex was over there hot, you know, and he's shaking, and he comes in, and you see him calling him, telling him to press slam him, and he just goes dead weight on him, and he's trying, he can't get him up, and he finally just dumps him.
What is said to have happened is that Owen Hart bumped spectacularly whenever Davey Boy Smith hit him with a hip toss or a military press slam. But as soon as Lex Luger tried to perform the same move, Owen suddenly forgot how to bump and sandbagged him. Al Snow continued saying,
"Because you don't bump a guy. The guy takes the bumps for you. You know, and he can make you look like $1 million. He can make you look like a tub of shit." What Owen thought.
Owen was the best, wasn't he? Number 6, Jey Uso. Between the summer of 2023 and the fall of 2024, Jey Uso was one of the most popular wrestlers on WWE's books, but that quickly changed when the company went all in on Main Event Jey and booked him to win the 2025 Rumble match. With this win, Jey was booked to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 41, but this coincided with the decorated tag team grappler making consistent botches during his match. He misjudged an over-the-top rope dive on Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, while on
Oh my goodness, Jey Uso. That's why people don't like you on Twitter, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, what's up with all the Jey Uso hate? It seemed like everybody love him. They love the yeet. He's pretty popular, so I'm like, why don't they like him, and why don't they want him to get a push? I see why now. You was botching like crazy, man, and it looked like you got like a little bit of beer belly, man. You gotta put the beer down, Jay. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Come on now, man.
occasion, he delivered a spear that looked more like John Cena's flying shoulder tackle. WWE actually worked Jey's deteriorating in-ring ability into the story, as seen on the March 24th episode of Raw. Having reunited with his brother Jimmy to defeat A-Town Down Under, Jey was attacked post-match by Gunther, but he got the upper hand and set up for a spear, but he slipped, and it was actually done on purpose. Tripping on his own ankles and walking straight into a Gunther annihilation, the so-called botch was done to enhance Jey's character development before he eventually managed to overcome Gunther at the Show of Shows, thus beginning his reign as a World Heavyweight Champion. It made perfect sense as well, as Jey was truly the underdog in this match, and the botch was definitely to show that his confidence was deteriorating. Number 5, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan always tried to be the smartest guy in the room, and he often was, well, provided that the room was empty. Indeed, Hogan told so many lies throughout his life that he actually started to believe them himself. But as far as his in-ring days are concerned, the biggest tale he ever told is that The Undertaker nearly paralyzed him with a tombstone piledriver atop a steel chair at the 1991 Survivor Series event. Now, of course, Hogan's head was about as close to the chair as he was being the bass player in the Metallica band, so it wasn't anywhere near. Unsurprisingly, the Hulkster's bad blood with The Undertaker continued well into the next decade, as he was booked to defend the undisputed WWE Championship against the American Badass at the 2002 Judgment Day pay-per-view. As in 1991, Taker was booked to go over Hulk, with a chokeslam being his weapon of choice. The second one looked like any old Undertaker chokeslam, but the first one, well, Hogan's feet barely left the mat. It looked embarrassing, sloppy, and above all else, out of place for a pay-per-view main event featuring two of the biggest mainstream wrestling stars in history. Number 4, Sabu. A pillar of Extreme Championship Wrestling, Sabu was always keen to incorporate steel chairs, tables, barbed wire, and whatever else Paul Heyman had stored under the ring into his matches, with many of his key spots involving him setting up a chair, darting across the ring, and using the metal to springboard himself onto the top rope, which he would then follow up with a moonsault or a leg drop. Given the uncertainty that accompanied these spots, things didn't always go according to plan, but that was actually Sabu's plan. Sabu supposedly worked mistakes into his matches to add a level of realism to his art, which often meant under or overshooting his dives. He explained as such during an interview on Talk Is Jericho, and went into detail about how, once he signed with WWE in 2006, Vince McMahon wasn't a fan of his style.
I didn't do anything in the ring that I didn't practice. I wasn't a crazy stuntman. I was a calculated wrestler. I would say. The trick was to make everybody think I'm crazy and don't know what I'm doing, but not the boss. But so Vince and a few other guys thought I was really out of control, which meant I did my job, but not really to them because they thought I was out of control, but I wasn't. But I never did any bump I didn't already do in practice over and over.
Number 3, Randy Orton. One of the most brutal matches in modern WWE history took top billing at the 2016 SummerSlam pay-per-view, as Brock Lesnar defeated Randy Orton with a finish seeing Brock use his elbow as a chisel to carve out a chunk out of the Viper's head, drawing out a pool of blood. That was planned, even if there was perhaps a little more blood than WWE would have liked. But the same couldn't be said about Randy Orton sandbagging Brock's German suplex attempts. 2 years on from Brock opening the gates to Suplex City, he booked Randy on a one-way ticket, but for whatever reason, there was no cooperation in the move, leaving the pair essentially falling backwards together with little or no impact. Like other examples we've discussed, we're still waiting an answer as to
I always said this, I'm never fighting Brock Lesnar in the ring. If I ever went to WWE and I got booked to fight Brock Lesnar, I'm backing out. I'm saying I quit. I'm quitting right on the spot. If that's my first match, I will never make my debut. I'm telling you, I'm never fighting Brock Lesnar. He too strong. Any nigga that got muscles on top of muscles, he ain't touching me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You can't touch me, gang. I don't give a damn if it's scripted or not. I don't care if it's fake. You're not putting no hands on me at all. You got muscles on top of muscles. Your muscles got muscles. Hell no, I ain't fighting you. I don't give a damn if it's fake. I'm not getting in the ring with you, gang. It's not happening.
Randy intentionally ruined the quality of the match, though perhaps he was furious with everyone involved, given that he was only told when he arrived at the building that the plan for the match was to make Brock look strong at his own expense. Number 2, Booker T. Pro wrestling is an industry full of overinflated egos, and this has resulted in many fights breaking out behind closed doors. And in WWE, fewer is noteworthy as a May 2006 scrap between Batista and Booker T. 3 months before they eventually collided over the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, the Animal and the then King Booker are said to have gotten into a scuffle while taking part in a photo shoot for the biggest party of the summer, with Booker having claimed that Batista viewed himself as being superior to the rest of the SmackDown roster. And many of his Blue Brand brothers sided with Booker in the argument, leaving Batista earmarked as public enemy number 1 before at last SummerSlam arrived. The match itself wasn't particularly memorable and ended in a disqualification win for Batista, but he did manage to execute a Batista bomb during the match. Well, barely. Indeed, Booker sandbagged the Animal during his powerbomb attempt, though it very nearly backfired. As if Batista hadn't realized what was happening, then Booker could have left Boston that night with a broken neck.
Yeah,
and number 1,
that's
Hardcore
dangerous.
Holly. Unfortunately for Hardcore Holly, his guilty charge for sandbagging did backfire, as he was left with a broken neck after failing to cooperate with Brock Lesnar during a powerbomb attempt. Challenging Lesnar on the September 12, 2000.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I tell you, he did. Brock Lesnar done broke the man neck. I mean, he ain't cooperate, but still, like, golly, you gotta make sure he's straight. At least put your hands on his neck or on his head to make sure he lands safely. Something. Brock Lesnar, I told you, he just looked like he don't give a damn, and he got muscles on top of muscles. Ain't no way you that strong, and you got I don't give a damn attitude, and I'm finna get in the ring with you. Absolutely not. Nah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening at all.
Episode of SmackDown, Holly evidently failed to hoist himself off the mat as Brock began to lift him, and as he was unable to correct the positioning, Lesnar dropped Holly directly onto his neck. Miraculously, the multi-time Hardcore champion not only finished the match,
Nah, Brock a menace. He stomped on his head after.
directly onto his neck. Miraculously,
Why he stomp on the man? He already down, Brock. See, I told you I wouldn't get in the ring, but now y'all see why I said what I said. I'm not getting in the ring with no Brock Lesnar, bro. It ain't happening. He just look like he just don't care about nothing. And he too strong. The nigga that mean and angry and don't care, and he got muscles on top of muscles. His shoulder got muscles. Hell no. I ain't getting in the ring with that man. Absolutely
multi-time
not.
Hardcore champion not only finished the match with a potentially paralyzing injury, but he even took an F5 in the process and wrestled another 2 matches, albeit untelevised. Discussing the matter on the All Things Wrestling Radio in 2018, Holly claimed that he did not sandbag the Beast Incarnate, though all the evidence points to the botch being his fault and nobody else's. Things happened, and it just happened. The timing was off, and it was malicious. It wasn't intended to happen, and Brock and I are good friends in and out of the ring, so we had a good working relationship. I enjoyed working with him. After it happened, he felt bad, and he called me after the surgery, and he'd check on me periodically and see how I was doing. So for those people that think they know what happened, they don't. But there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers who botched a move on purpose.
But yeah, I'm out of here, man. If y'all enjoyed that reaction video, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell so you can get notified when I drop another banger. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. We on the road to 100 subscribers. I'm telling y'all, we about to go up this year, man. 2026 is the year of KDB the one. But I'm out of here. I'll see y'all in the next video.